In today's video, I'm going to talk about Salt Lake City versus Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that they have in common and some of the things they don't. So if you're thinking about making a move to Salt Lake City and your other choice was Phoenix, Arizona, then you'll want to watch this video. And I'm getting after it right now. Welcome back. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about Salt Lake City versus Phoenix, Arizona. And before I get to that, just want to let you know that I really appreciate everybody that reaches out to me from watching my videos that's thinking of moving here to the Salt Lake City area. I absolutely love talking about everything that has to do with Salt Lake City, from eating, playing, having fun here, just everything there is to do about being here in Salt Lake City. So if you would reach out to me, my number is right here, and I'd love to chat with you about it. And if you want to learn all about living in Salt Lake City, then please hit the subscribe button and click the little bell to be notified every time I do a new video. And here we go. So one of the main things that's the same about pretty much about Salt Lake City versus Arizona would be like the outdoor activities. So you can do pretty much everything in both states as far as outdoors, like hiking, camping, fishing. There's lakes to go out on for boating. You can mountain bike. There's tons of hiking and walking. And you can take your Jeep out if you have a Jeep like I do. Just know that outdoor wise, you probably won't have much difference between the two. However, I would say the snow skiing is going to be much better in Utah than it is in Arizona, but you can snow ski, snowboard in Arizona. It just won't be the same level. Utah has like 17 world-class resorts to pick from. So if snow is your thing, then Utah for sure, hands down, wins that race. Arizona has 3 national parks for you to visit. Utah has 5. So if you're into the national park scene, there'll be more of them for you to see in Utah. I have not been to any of them as of yet. This next year is going to be my year to hit at least a couple of them, if not all 5 in Utah. But know that national park wise, there are some in Arizona that you can see, as well as Utah, but Utah has more of them. Gambling. So if gambling is your thing and you love to gamble, you will not be able to do that in Utah at all. You will have to go to Nevada as the closest place to gamble. And I think you can do it in Wyoming as well. But most people go to a place called Wendover. It's right on the Nevada border. It's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most drive from Salt Lake City to gamble. Otherwise, the other fun place to go is Las Vegas, of course. And that's 5.5 hours, depending upon where you settle in Salt Lake City. It could be 6, I guess, if you're at the northernmost part. But gambling. You can't even do the lottery in Utah. It has like a 0 policy for gambling at all. So if you want lotto tickets, you got to go to Mesquite. It's probably the closest place, and that's 5.5, 6 hours. No, less than that. About 4.5 hours. It's right on the other side of St. George. Maybe it's 30 minutes from St. George, but Mesquite is where you're going to have to do it. Know that don't get stuck like I did when the Powerball was, I think it was 1.5 billion, and I wanted to get a Powerball ticket, and we were going to Vegas that weekend. I think this was in July. Anyhow, we ended up not being able to buy a ticket because we thought you could just get in Las Vegas, but apparently they only sell it at the border. So you have to get it at Mesquite or like at the Whiskey Pete's border, or probably up in Northern California, somewhere along the border, you can get it as well, but you can't get the lotto. So Arizona does have both gambling and the lottery. They have Indian reservations there where they have gambling on. I've done that in the past. I didn't really think it was all that great compared to Las Vegas, because when I would play blackjack there, if you wanted to play, most of the tables were full. And the only way you'd get to sit down and play was because somebody just lost all their money. So do you really want to sit and play at that table where you watch the other dude or person lose all their money, and then you get to sit down, and most likely you're going to lose all your money. So gambling that itself wasn't all that great for me in Arizona. I much prefer going to Vegas. Both Arizona and Utah are landlocked, so they are not next to the ocean. So just know that that's something that they both share in common. So if you need your ocean fix, you're going to be traveling to California to get that from you, and that's about 9 to 10 hour drive from Salt Lake City, and I think it's like 6.5 hours. So it's a little closer from Phoenix to get to the ocean, but they're both landlocked. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Both are deserts, which you're probably aware, but Utah is in what's called a high desert. So it's higher up in elevation, of course, but it's still a desert climate, which means it's going to be dry. You're going to need to put on lotion. You're going to get, like when we moved here, we didn't really realize like how dry it was. So chapstick was a must, as well as lotion. Lotion is your friend when your skin gets dry, and it does a couple times a year where you're like, wow, why am I itching so badly? You're gonna need lotion. Temperature wise, Utah is typically 10 to 15 degrees cooler than Arizona, and in the winter, but I mean, sorry, it's cooler 10 to 15 degrees than Arizona in the winter, and then in the summer we're like 25 degrees or so colder. So it's the climate as far as Arizona goes. You put up with more heat in the summer, but then the winters aren't as cold. And in Utah, the summers aren't as hot, but the winters are colder. So just pick your poison, what you prefer. Some people really like the not being as cold in the winter. However, I think I really like it. When the summer when the winter hits and it's getting cool, then all the bugs and everything pretty much disappear for 6 months. So it's great. There really aren't bugs, flies, whatever else. Not that Utah has a ton of bugs, but they're just pretty much gone. So temperature wise, like I said, if you were picking and you wanted it to be, and you were okay dealing with 120, 125 degree heat in the summer, then Phoenix is definitely better because it's only around 100-ish at the most here in Utah typically. We both have a dry climate. So Phoenix and Utah both are dry. You don't have to worry about a lot of humidity. So if humidity was your thing, which is one of the things that I disliked about living in Tennessee, was it was humid. It always made me feel like after I showered, walked to my car, that I needed like a second shower. So this dry thing is really nice. And we would get that a couple weeks a year in Tennessee where it was really nice. And it reminded me of California weather where it's just nice. And it's at night in both Phoenix and in Salt Lake City at night time. It's super nice once the sun goes down and it's still like around 100 degrees at night. It feels better to be outside, so you can have some outdoor living furniture and stuff like that you wouldn't necessarily have in other areas. Although I know people love the humidity. I don't know what it is. I'm not a fan. One other thing to make note. So Utah has longer days by about 45 minutes than Phoenix does. So you're gonna have more longer daylight, which means you can do more activities during the summertime when days are really long. It takes a little bit of adjusting to get used to, 10 o'clock and it's still light outside, and you're like, I should be going to bed, but it's still light outside, and your kids want to go to bed, but they don't want to go to bed because it's light outside. But it leaves you being able to go do activities. You can work all day, come home, go on a hike, and still come, do a 2 or 3 hour hike, and you could be home and it's still light out. So know that the days are 45 minutes longer in Salt Lake City area than they are in Phoenix, Arizona. So Arizona is hot, as you know what. They also have these things in the summer that we don't have in Utah called the monsoons that come where it literally rains so hard for like a few minutes where you can't see at all. When I lived in Tucson for a while, which is, just near Phoenix, it would rain where you just stop your car on the road. It would rain for a few minutes, then it would stop, and you'd be like, what the heck was that? And you just couldn't see. So you need to be careful if you're moving there, and do a little research on what monsoons are and what you should do as far as that. Make sure that if some of the underpasses that they would have, they'd have these markers for like how much feet of water it would get, because it would fill up really fast with water. And they always told you never to stop in those, because you could, be trapped in your car with water and end up with a problem. Liquor laws. So liquor laws, it's 0.05 here in Salt Lake City area, or Utah in general. It has the strictest liquor laws in the entire US. So if liquor is your thing, Phoenix may be a better option for you. You can't buy liquor on the weekends. I mean, on Sunday in Utah, where you should be able to do that in Arizona. Arizona's is 0.08% for your thing, which Utah means, or at least that I've been told, you can have about one drink, and then that's kind of it per hour, or not even maybe one an hour. Where in Phoenix, I think you could get away with probably two an hour, 1 to 2 an hour, but don't quote me on that. Just know everybody's body is different, but Utah has really, really strict liquor laws. Last but not least, power bill. And you're going to pay about 2 times the price for power in Arizona that you will in Utah. And that's just because of the heat. The AC units really have to work to keep you cool, and you're just going to end up paying for that. And I don't know what else to say, except, your power, you're going to be paying twice the bill. So once again, I really appreciate you watching my videos. I talk all about Salt Lake City and what it's like to live here, eat here, play here. Please reach out if I can help you in any way on making your move here to the Salt Lake City area.